If you're going to invest in anything, if you're going to give yourself, your time, your energy, maybe your money to any project that's worth doing, then it's worth doing all the way. Going 50% in or 75% of the way does nothing for you in the end, because success requires 100%. It requires all of you. At any decision point of any significance, there's always two diametrically opposing forces at play, right? You have the desire to change your circumstances versus an acceptance of the way things are. That feeling of acceptance of the status quo often feels comfortable, but ultimately, we have to recognize it's empowered by fear, by a fear of the unknown. And so until the former is of a greater magnitude than the charge energizing the fear, nothing will change about your reality. And that's just facts. That's just the way it is. Only when your desire to change your circumstances outweighs the charge associated with that fear, with that skepticism, with that stagnancy, will you ever drastically shift your reality. For me, taking drastic action is invigorating now, but it always seems scary until I try it, until I make the decision and take action. And then something really interesting happens. It starts to become something we crave. It starts to become addicting, especially when you start to see the fruits of your labor, the results of your high stakes decision coming to fruition before your eyes, and they will. The better decision maker you become, the more well-informed, the more intellectual and intuitive you become. See, if you haven't yet, at some point in your life, you will be faced with a choice where everything seems to hang in the balance, where you can see over the horizon, and what you see excites you beyond belief. But to get there will require you to do something you've never done before, to give and to give up what hasn't been working, to give up that holding on to the fear, to give up your comfort. It'll require you to offer your all, to go all in, to invest time, money, energy, and the extent to which you're willing to risk it all will directly impact the probability of success. So the determining factor in success at that point is simply how committed you are to fulfilling the promise you made to yourself. It's about winning that bet you placed on you. See, you're meant to own your world, not just participate in it. If you're worried that you don't have the knowledge you'll need, you're just not accounting for the delta between where you are now versus where you'll be. That is a figment of your imagination. That feeling of unpreparedness, uncertainty, or unknowing is an illusion altogether. You need to trust yourself to figure it out. Trust that you'll figure out a way, that you'll make it happen, that you'll learn what you need to learn between now and that imaginary future that lies down the road. So if I'm going to bet on myself, I bet big. I took my inheritance, a quick personal story. I took my inheritance left from my grandparents, which was a fairly substantial amount of money, and I invested it in an Amazon store. Why? Why didn't I leave that gift in the bank to grow, or the stock market? Why didn't I just rely on the 7% year-over-year growth of the market and sit back and wait? Because my goal isn't to retire. My goal is to invest in cash flow assets, right? To replace the need to rely on a single stream of income, period. And so I made a calculated and so I took a calculated risk with the chips that I had in my hand for the reality that I desire, instead of waiting around for a future I did not. And so the difference between those who succeed big and those who don't isn't necessarily skill. It isn't knowledge or character. Sometimes it is, but sometimes it just comes down to how willing you are to bet on you, to use the hand you have to your advantage, and to go all in when you do.